Asura is the story of a young boy who struggles to survive in a life which has given him nothing but hardships. This is a movie which isn't intended to show the brighter sides of humanity or the darker sides of this main character who's had a hard life. It's to show how someone can go into the rock bottom of life, into the depths of suffering, to almost become a monster, and then showing their human spirit prevail over all of that. And then also, to contrast this, it shows the monstrous nature of humanity itself. Here we have Asura, who has had such a terrible life here, even since birth. In the beginning of this movie, we find his mother, who gives birth to him, and she's so hungry that she starts eating a dead human on the side of the road, and then she realizes how soft her own baby, her own newborn baby's skin is, and she tosses him into a fire to eat him. That's how bad of a life that Asura has. So somehow or another he survives it. I don't really see how that's possible because he was so young when he was thrown into that fire and he was being burnt. He wasn't really deformed by it, and of course he didn't die, obviously, so we don't really know how he got out of that fire. We know that he survived somehow or another. But this story is the life of Asura after he survived the fire. Pretty much he is an animal. He is a human that has degraded to the point of survival, where he knows nothing but how to survive, and he's basically an animal running around on all fours. There's one point where we see a bird flying out of the sky and he jumps and grabs the bird and starts eating it. He is really animal-like in this movie. He also eats human flesh as well. We've seen him attack a few people, biting them right on the neck and all this blood squirting out, and he's actually eating their skin here. So he's got a very rough life. There's not been anything that's ever been provided for him. And throughout the entirety of this movie, there are really two different characters that he comes across that care for him, and they become the major characters in this movie. There's a woman in the village that he passes by, and also a monk as well. So out of all of the characters in this movie, these two characters are the only ones that see Asura as being some sort of human, because we have the monk who teaches him about the human spirit, about how his spirit can overcome all of these hardships in his life, and about how he can still become a normal person. It's just that he's undergone so much trouble, and that because he is suffering, it shows that he's human, and it shows that if he can fight, he can overcome it. And the girl, she teaches him more practical things in life, such as how to speak, and also other things along that line as well. So between the two of them, they're really great characters that teach him everything he knows within this movie. So from hearing that, you might think that Asura doesn't really have it all bad within this movie, but it's a struggle for him. There's this new life that these two characters show him, but then there's the struggle of the life that he knows. He can't trust anyone because even his own mother was so desperate for food that she tried to eat him, and everyone that he's ever known in his life has tried to hurt him or kill him, and he really has had a troubled life here. And it's a struggle between the wilderness, the life of the wild, the life where he has to fight every day for survival, and this pampered life where he lives and he's loved by these characters. It's a struggle between them, and he doesn't really know if he can trust these people or not, and a lot of times you'll see the wild side take over where he doesn't really trust anybody, and it's a real big struggle for this character, and you can really feel for him through watching this movie. So looking at the story of Asura here, it's only an hour and 10 minutes long, so they try and squeeze a lot of content into that length of the movie, and it kind of hurts it because it's such a short movie, and then at the end of the movie you've got a lot of development that happens, and a lot of this we don't really see. We'll see Asura as he's a little bit older. I'm trying not to spoil anything here, but we see him a little bit older and things have changed, but we don't really see a lot of the things that happen here. Granted, if you're taking this as a movie which you can just watch lightly and you can see, okay, so everything ended out this way, so okay, that's the end of the movie. You could think that if you want, but looking at this, after seeing so many different anime series, after seeing so many different anime movies, after wanting certain things out of a story from an anime movie, I would have to say that if this movie was probably about an hour and a half long, then I think that it would have been great if they would have added that little bit of extra where you can see the life of Asura before that last scene in the movie here, then I think everything would be alright. So if I were to rate Asura on its storytelling alone, I'd give it a 7, maybe a 7.5, because the parts that were done well, I really enjoyed that, and it really made you feel for this character, but then there's this huge climax near the end of the movie, and then you're like, what happened next? Don't tell me that this is the end of the movie, and then it shows this little extra scene after that, which is in the future, and it's like, okay, that's cool and all, but I want to see what happened in between. So it really did take a few hits because of that, mostly because of that, and I really felt that there were certain parts of this movie that were hard to watch, and that's mostly because of the animation. So looking at the art style of Asura, it's CGI, but it's cel-shaded, so it still looks very anime-like, and I think it looks good despite the fact that it's CGI. Usually I don't like that type of animation, but it's done in a way that I really have to say that I think it looked pretty good. So with the art style here, there are a few things that really made it hard to watch. Like there was the part where the mom was throwing her child into the fire, and also where Asura was eating people and eating live animals. It was really tough to watch some of the things in this movie, but overall I would have to say that it was a pretty good movie. If I had to rate Asura as a whole, I'd probably give it an 8 because the story was pretty good. It was lacking a little bit of depth at the end, which I felt really would have made the movie shine if they had done that ending really well and put a lot more time into that, but they were limited by the constraints of the movie. The animation to it was good despite the fact that it was CGI, and usually, like I said, I don't like CGI. Everything about the movie was pretty good. Like I said, hour and 10 minutes long. You could watch it real quick. Go ahead, check it out, Asura. So if you've seen Asura, then let me know your thoughts about it in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, like, and also share it if you want to. I really appreciate all that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.